Hello, my lovelies, my friends, everybody that I love. Okay, today I want to talk about every natural effects that happens in the world has a spiritual cause. And in these times of sickening crimes that we've seen on the TV and everywhere that's going on in this world, which seems to be rife, and the reaction to those crimes, which is war, more sickening crimes, and where this clearly perpetuates more hatred and violence, there has to be a better solution. Every natural effect has a spiritual cause, and spirit is nature at its very basis. We seem to see nature as our enemy, where we strive to hold back time and the natural aging process. We no longer value the wisdom of age and instead treat our elderly as a burden on society and welfare. Additionally, the same goes for youth, as many fail to remember that they were once too that child, and that child still exists within them. Many prefer to deny their inner child and blank off this part of themselves. They see fun and laughter and joy as something that is frivolous and unacceptable. So here we are in society denying the very best parts of ourselves, and it's true that this true self is being criticised and violently misunderstood. By criticising everything that is natural, perfect and beautiful, and falling in love, that is a part of the natural state of our being. And we're all trying to desperately deny this and replacing with this false ideas and ideals which are harmful to ourselves and society as a whole. So as we're trying to replace what is natural with something else, that something else being how we want it to be rather than how it is. And how it is this perfect way of being. So we're sort of replacing it with something which is not good for us. The physical is a delusion of the perishing vegetable memory, and we fail to remember this, that beneath the physical is the imagination and the creation of our true being. We fail to remember these moments in time where we imagined and created these certain states of experience that made us physical, and bring our spiritual beliefs into this physical reality through this physical being, this reality being merely thought made real. Real is the illusion though, and creativity is the reality. So when we think of religions as being the ultimate thought and these scriptures as being the ultimate truths, there are underlying creative thoughts beneath those beliefs. Ones which have initially stemmed from a will to create harmony amongst the masses. The intention of religion is good. It is love, and it is to bring contentment and love into the physical. This is why many religious teachers hold this steadfast belief that when all people are believing that one way and in their one religion, then there will be peace and harmony in the physical life experience on earth, and each religion feels the same about its own, as we've seen. Each individual is imagining his or her own way of peace and demanding that this is the only way. So when that imagination takes form where we can see it from the inside out, we don't recognise our part that we play in failing to reap what we sow for ourselves, and let others reap what they sow for themselves. It's where we demand that others see it our way where we're denying that we had anything to do with any of these natural effects that are taking place in our world. Yet we're each playing a big part in the snowballing of expectation from every other being to see with soul and spirit that their thoughts are not justified, where it makes demands to make others see their way too. Others will see in their own time what is truth, or it could be that in time you will see other truths yourselves. You may see that one might open our hearts and minds to how our own imagination has created pain and indifference in everyone around us. Our memory is faulty in all of us, not just you, not just me, and not just me and not just you. All of us are thinking that we know the best way. We've become lazy and we've moved away from the will to seek for balance. And the love within ourselves has become diminished. As we've become lazy, we've allowed politicians and others and religious teachers and religious people to do the thinking for us. And we've allowed others to tell us how to seek for love and where to seek it. We allow those who demand that we see it their way to talk us into following and believing that if everyone thinks their way, it will bring peace to the world. But it hasn't, has it? Many of those people will say, well, no, it isn't because it's that you're not doing what you're told. And it's your fault. You're not following these strict rules and you're not teaching others how to follow these strict rules. Your spiritual values are wrong. And this is causing disharmony in the world, and those spiritual values that you hold must be killed. This is the scriptures, how the scriptures actually read correctly. Do you not see it? All spiritual scriptures are spiritual in content. When they teach of killing, they're asking you to kill the values that are to them wrong. No spiritual scripture is about physical killing, and where physical killing occurs, these people themselves are acting very far from their own religious rules. And this is where I say that none of this physical killing is actually about religion. Very far from it. It's where people have become lost in misinterpretation of these words and used it as a physical ending or a physical beginning or whatever these things are talking about. They see it in physical terms. So it brings into the physical something that religion itself ever had the intention to do, to bring love and harmony into the world. And it puts an end to that intention completely. By the very action of physically acting out what is meant to be a spiritual killing of idea and thoughts, these so-called religions, idealists, are in fact creating the very thing they call Satan, devil, evil in the world. And this is where I say that religion is not the evil. It isn't the problem. It's the way in which spiritual scriptures are misinterpreted. And on the grander scale, when we step back and look upon our earth on the grander scale, where we can see all of humanity living upon a globe, we dilute that hurt and pain and wars to countries and seas and a world that is thriving. As we get closer, we see war, pain, famine, cruelty. Closer still, we find individuals being industrious and bringing calm and love and change to situations. We see people healing each other, making things better, rushing to each other's aid. At the very basis of ourselves and our being, we are all healers. We are all loving beings. Our physical body is naturally healing. If we cut ourselves, our skin will immediately go into action to heal. So up close, we are better individuals than we are in groups of people. Basically, we all want love and we all want peace. Yet our need to battle one another's different ideas and thoughts and make other people be the way we need them to be to create harmony and make everybody be thinking the same way, that is actually tearing everybody apart. And the industrious have in fact done each of these things in this moment and multiplied it. When it's first found, it resonates with every moment of that day in one way or another. So we're sitting here maybe thinking good thoughts or maybe bad thoughts. And if we deem it to be bad, we turn our thinking into bad thinking and our day into a bad day. And the opposite applies. And that's where we talk about thoughts being a part of a spiritual entity which we create with. Where religion is concerned, we are then allowing Satan into our lives. Also in religious terms, if we don't believe in God and don't let God or good thoughts into our lives, we fail to turn our thoughts into good thoughts or God thoughts and fail to turn our day into a day of good or God. Religious people tell us that if we doubt God, we let Satan in. And here the word Satan simply means doubt, a doubt of God. And this way of thought actually diminishes Satan to simply that, doubt. Not evil, not wickedness, simply doubt to the God thinking or good thinking, which creates better outcomes and which instead creates fear, which is as far away from God or good or love as you can get. And it's what all the horror films are made out of. I desire a certain state in the world where everybody is accepting of everybody is accepting of each other's ways, and everybody is accepting of religious ways in every way, and where killing can be sort of talking about killing of your need to make others learn the same religion and understand the same religion, just to be the person that takes on that religion for themselves if they wish to practice it for themselves and let others practice their own religion for themselves. Live and let live. We must observe our own inner talk. It's the cause of future action. Inner speech reveals the state of consciousness from which you view the world. So in terms of how we might blame religion or religious people for the violence in the world, how about we understand that there actually are no disrespectful religions. There are only disrespectful religious people, disrespecting their own religion and fighting in its name, who create this illusion that it's about all religion. It's the same in all case scenarios. If there's a bad man who has hurt a woman, she will tend to speak of all men as being bad, and they're doubting good or God in other men. And the same can work the other way around, of course, where men are doing that to women or women are doing that to men. And we don't have to be religious to believe in good. We just have to do it, believe in good and act it out, and we can change our whole perspective. There's only one truth and many illusions created in the human mind about the badness in the world. Did you know that there are billions of people today who did not kill or harm anyone? Billions that did a great and loving thing towards everyone else. And that is good thinking or God thinking. How about we go one further, where there are thousands of people who go out to war-torn areas and give out aid for the sake of it. The majority of those people are actually religious people. The newspapers won't print these kind of headlines, news of course, until those good people are being harmed by others who are misled in their view of goodness, that they need to kill those who don't believe their way. But there they are, doing good, doing loving work. The fact is, we need no religion to be good, loving, kind and compassionate. If we choose love, kindness and compassion, we are merely acting out of love. We're acting out of goodness or God. On a physical level, love is a feeling that connects and bonds us all to one another. Some quotes by Neville God goes like this: "Feeling is a secret, but this feeling is not an emotional sensation. This feeling is to be or become conscious of a perception within. Perception, the act of the effect of perceiving insight or intuition gained by perceiving awareness or consciousness." Another quote goes, "All that you behold, though it appears without it, is within, of which this world of mortality is but a shadow. If you will but enter a state in your imagination and assume its truth, the outer world will respond to your assumption. For it is your shadow, forever bearing witness to your inner imagination and activity." He's always challenging God. God is my own wonderful human imagination. That's God. So the protagonists are God and Satan, simply faith and doubt. Can I imagine that I am the one that I would like to be and remain faithful to that assumption as though it were true? If I can and remember that assumption, and when I did it, then I will see what will happen in my world, the relationship between the natural effect and its spiritual cause. The spiritual cause was that moment of assumption. So to get away from the religious cause and effect, we must still hold on to one aspect, and that is within ourselves, and that's soul, or the child. Our entire culture suffers from what the shamans call soul loss, and that could also be that child loss as well, the child within, the loss of the child. A loss of meaning, direction, vitality, mission, purpose, identity, and genuine connection. A deep unhappiness that most of us have come to consider as simply ordinary. The soul is our source of absolute uniqueness. A place within that connects us not to our own value and essence, but to the value and essence of every other living being. What makes us people that have realised that this has happened? Most of us don't know that we have disconnected from our soul and have come to accept it as a normal numbness and lack of meaning in our lives. Because we all belong to this culture where we all suffer from soul loss. Soul loss is an epidemic and blinds us from seeing the potential of our joy and wholeness in ordinary life, of being without following, of choosing the God self, the good self, the child self, and acting upon that. to just act upon our love, the feelings that we have, something that's good, and following that path rather than keep holding on to the negatives, what might happen, what could happen, based upon our experiences, because as we get older we have some darker experiences and then we place that into our now moment and we might act upon something that isn't even here and now, rather than the love that we move forward into so easily. Many people feel that they're not good enough, and that's one part of the signs that we're losing this child, this soul being that is the true us. We might yearn to be of service and have no idea that we have to contribute and that we are the love in the world that can give and give and give, and that we deserve love in return. And if we were all loving one another, then we'll have that love return happening easily and flowing easily. But right now we're just aware always of, what if this person does this or hurts me like this? We've got to just let all of that go and allow our freedom to live without that fear and flow like the river. Stop letting our fears live this life largely in our life and loom largely in our lives. And let go of being worried, because whatever's going to happen is going to happen anyway. You have to prepare for things, yes, but we can prepare in the moment. If something turns up which is difficult, if we just start preparing immediately, it can all turn out to be a better focus on a better flow into something better, because there's always something better out there. Especially if you're in that mode of feeling optimistic of what your future's going to be, then that optimism is what you're creating with, rather than that feeling of helplessness and pessimism. So you need to, these people tend to sometimes protect their hearts and hold them closed, and they don't want to let their love out. And they feel beaten down by the challenges in life, but challenges are there for us to run to and jump and overcome. And then, once we're past it, we can look back and say, whoa, look what I've done. Look how great I am. Rather than standing there before that hurdle and crying tears and saying, my God, I can't get past this, I can't do this. So if people are struggling, they're unable to accept love, they're unable to accept any challenges, they see it all as something the world is doing to them, and they become anxious and chronically worried and depressed and feeling that they're not appreciated enough. But if you have that view that you can actually get over that hurdle and you can do it and you can get past it and you can look behind at yourself and what you've done, then there's nothing to be worried about. Then you are the one appreciating yourself, your own tasks, your own judgments and your own actions in overcoming. And then once you've got past these things with that determination and vigour, you stop becoming disappointed with life. Many people have forgotten how to dream. Many people have forgotten to be that child that will just run at the hurdle and see what happens. Because even if you fall down, there's always the getting up, brushing off and starting again. Western medicine has no framework for this kind of diagnosis of finding this soul part of ourselves, this child within. And we're not taught to treat this kind of suffering that we have when we become so afraid to even jump over those hurdles and use this God self or this good self or these good thinkings and positive thinkings. We're not taught to treat this kind of suffering, so we wind up mistreating it, and people suffer from this soul loss and pain. So we need this deep medicine, which is of our own making, of reconnection to the soul and to this child that is ourselves. And we've got to stop treating this child with disrespect and understand that that child is ready to allow you to push forward, and you're the one that's holding it down. We tend to treat chronic pain and with medicine, and treat insomnia with sleeping pills, and we treat weight issues with diet and exercise, and most damagingly we may label our soul loss as a mental illness such as depression, and cover up the symptoms with psychiatric medicines and things, and stick a band-aid on a wound that's not healing underneath. So the treatment that we really need is just to take back that perfect power that we already are, that's within us, and to encourage courage to take some external changes in our lives. And sometimes we need to just change something that's in our lives, or do something that is just out of the ordinary that we wouldn't normally do because we're too afraid to do it, to really just push beyond those boundaries. So if we're setting these boundaries and we're putting the fear in place, then sometimes it's better to just knock those boundaries down and say, right, I'm going beyond this now. This time I'm going to change something and alter it, because what's going on here isn't right. It's just like the war things. We keep having more wars. It's not working. Why isn't it working? Something else has to change, and that is we need to sort of get down into the very basic levels of our emotional selves and find these places within each and every being. How do we teach it to everybody though? Well, it needs sending out there, doesn't it? Which I'm trying to do here today. Those eternal changes can actually change the world. So we could change these major parts of our lives easily by just altering how we deal with our fear. So if you feel you're suffering from soul loss in any way, there is something you can do about it. You can get back to those places within yourselves, and it isn't that hard. Remember what you was like as a child. Remember how you just would run into things and try them. To help you stay in balance with the nature of your physical being without moving into doubt. And remember that doubt is Satan. That's the devil. That's the thing that you're afraid of. That's what your religions are teaching you, that you mustn't bring into your life. Stop bringing doubt into your life. The ultimate symptom of doubt is fear. And remember, you are master of your own journey. I hope this has helped you today. I'm going through a lot of challenges again, which everybody knows about, but I've got another load just whacked upon me, and I'm ready to charge into that one too. So, got to stay positive, and stay loved, and stay happy. And I love you all. Hugs from me to you. Always see love. Bye bye for now.